While you are waiting and getting settled in, if you want to put in the chat your name and where you're coming from tonight, can do that. We'll also do some introductions as well, but hi Laura, hi Jack. If I was really savvy, I would have my music playing and doing the music sharing right now. But um, I'm on a new laptop and I don't have my music on the laptop, so I apologize. So you're just gonna have to hear me talk. And you're welcome to have your video on or off, whatever you like. Might see mine go on and off throughout because my internet is being a little tricky tonight. Hello, Hannah. Hello, Sally. Hey, Janet. Welcome. Okay, we'll give it maybe one more minute, see if some other folks can pop on, and then we'll get started. And if you are able to mute your microphone, unless you're asking a question, I think that will be helpful just to make sure we don't have any loud sounds or noises kind of in and out and distracting. Okay, so we'll get started. And just want to make sure I have my my slides up here. Okay, great. Hello, I'm Kelly. We'll do some introductions in a moment. But as I mentioned before, if you could be on mute, that would be great for this session. Unless you're asking a question, you can raise your hand too, or put a question in the chat. We are recording this session. And if you hadn't put your name and where you're from, chat, we are going to kind of go around since it's a small group and we're going to do introductions anyway. So speaking of introduction, so we're doing this Zoom, as you know, as kind of like a precursor to the workshop that's going to be on October 21st. We thought it'd be to just over some information if folks are beginner or new to Avenza. This way you can get some questions done and feel a bit more prepared before the workshop. So this workshop and the Zoom supported by several different organizations and folks. I'm Kelly Bierman. I'm from Farm and Conservation. And Elizabeth, I forgot, I should have told you, you should have put in your name on here too. Because Elizabeth is also, she's our conservation intern from Farmer Willis Conservation as well. And she's with us today on the Zoom, and she will be at the workshop as well. And then I'll have Hannah introduce herself when I pass over the slides. But we also have Laura here from Vermont Coverts, and Kate is here tonight, but Kate from Vermont Woodlands Association will also be with us for the workshop. And before we pass it to those of you who have logged in tonight with us, Laura, do you want to come off mute and just introduce yourself and talk about Vermont Coverts for a minute?
All right. Well, Vermont Coverts is an organization. It's a peer-to-peer network that hooks people up with expertise and each other so they can share ideas and learn from each other kind of try out new ideas and look at what's happened. It's heavily program based, and a lot of those are getting out onto people's land and seeing how the programs unfold. And one of the things that people have been approaching us about is how to map. So this is a great question. I'm not an Avenza user, but I want to be, and I think I kind of need to be to interface with everyone else who seems to be the mainstream mapping app. So I'm really happy to be here, but I'm not able to contribute much knowledge. So I'm really thanking Kelly and Hannah and Kate and Elizabeth for putting
Thanks.
covers up there. But if you have any interest in learning more about coverts, you can email me or I guess put it in the chat and I'll get your name off of there later.
Great. Thanks, Laura. Yeah, I
Thank
mean,
you.
part of this is like just being able to like show folks like the support that these different organizations have for each other and sharing information and ways to connect with each other. That was one of the goals of this workshop as well. Hannah, can I just pass it to you just to do a quick introduction of yourself and who you are and what you do?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Hannah Dallas. I am the Southern Windsor County Forester, so I cover a little over half of the southern portion of Windsor County, and that includes Farm and Wilderness and the town of Plymouth. And I mostly oversee the current use program and work with landowners on that, but then I also get to do workshops and educational events like this one, and there's a lot of folks that ask about Avenza and ask me how to use it and how to navigate their property with it.
Great. Thanks, Hannah. Elizabeth, I know I kind of already introduced you, but would you introduce yourself and what you do?
Hello, I am the conservation intern at Farm and Wilderness, and my position is basically helping Kelly with whatever projects she's working on, and we use Avenza a lot. I used it today, so it's a really valuable tool, and I'm excited to learn it by teaching other people, if that makes sense.
Thank you. And as I said, I'm Kelly Bierman. I'm the conservation director for Farm and Wilderness Conservation. And some of you may know the organization by our summer camps that we've run since 1939, but we're also a conservation organization, and we care for about 4,800 acres of conserved land in Plymouth, Mount Holly, Bridgewater, Chelsea, Brookfield. As Elizabeth said, like Avenza is one of our tools that we use to help us do that. So I use it a lot professionally. It makes our jobs a lot easier, especially when we have a lot of land to manage. And I also use it personally for my own property and also for recreation. So it's a pretty fun tool, and I'm learning all different kinds of ways to use it. So I'm really excited to be able to share that along with other people who also know how to use it. So I thought, since it's a small group tonight, that we could maybe just go around real quick. And if you come off mute, just if you give your name, where you're from, if you used Avenza before, or what you're hoping to get out of the workshop, I think that would be nice to kind of just get to know each other. And I will kind of just go around by order of who's on my screen, just to make that a little clearer. So I think, Janet, I think you're on there first.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I'm interested. I haven't been on Avenza before. My name's Janet Pelletier from Shrewsbury, Vermont, and I'm interested because I am the corridor monitor I volunteer for the Green Mountain Club, and have a section up on between Shrewsbury and Killington. And I've been using a compass to do that, which has been really great. Other people use Avenza, And I think it would add to my toolbox to be able to do that, and also give me some more accuracy because I'm bushwhacking on that corridor, trying to find the corridor. So that's why I'm interested.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Next on my screen looks like Nancy. It says, Nancy, it says you're off mute, but I don't know that we can hear you. We'll try one more time. Can you hear us? And something might be up with your microphone. But you could put your thoughts in the chat if you like. So I don't think we can hear you, but if you can access chat, want to put those things in the chat, can do that. Next on my screen is Jack.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm in Woodbury, Vermont. I've used Avenza one time for one day a couple of years ago and have since forgotten most everything I thought I knew about it. I'm the chair of the Northern Rivers Land Trust, which covers a 7-town area around Hardwick. What I'm hoping to get out of the workshop is a much better understanding of how this will allow the land trust to create better maps for the land trust and greatly improve and make a lot easier our ability to monitor and steward our properties.
Awesome. Thanks, Jack. All right. And then we have Sally.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, Sally Hespy. I live in Andover, Vermont. I've never used Avenza. I moved up to Vermont full-time 2.5 years ago, so I'd like to be confident out in the woods in our own property and not get lost. So that's a goal for me.
Those are great goals. Yeah, great. Thank you, everybody. I think that's everybody that's on my screen. I have multiple tabs open, so if I miss anybody, let me know. A couple things before I'm going to pass it to Hannah to guide us through some of the things we want to prep for the workshop. So for tonight, you can put any questions in the chat at any time. We'll just be watching the chat. We may answer the questions if we know them, or we can address them we'll have some time at the end for a Q&A. If you need clarification for something, because Hannah's going to be talking tonight about some slides, but if you need a question answered because it's a little confusing, just raise your hand and we have time as a small group, we can pause and clarify something for you. And we're going to try to end by 8 p.m. tonight or sooner. We'll see. And then, yeah, session. Reminders for the workshop on the 21st. There's still some space in the workshop. We've had a lot of interest and some folks have still not quite registered. But if you know somebody that could be interested, just tell them, give them a little encouragement to sign up. Or if they haven't heard of it, just let them know, spread the word. And again, it'll be at the Farm and Wilderness facilities in Plymouth. Vermont will send out emails and reminders the week of, and I'll send map directions if you've never been there before. And reminder just to prep, bring clothes for the weather, water, lunch, and a cord to charge your device, just in case you run a little low on battery. We'll have some extra ones there too. And yeah, look for those emails. And if you have questions at any point, you can email conservation@farmandwilderness.org. Laura, did you have a question?
Well, I have a comment. I use Gaia, which uses a lot of juice. I'm not sure if Avenza is comparable, but when I go in the field, I usually take an external charger. If you have a small one that's portable, I found that extremely helpful.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Sometimes I know I'll also do the same if I know I'm going to be out there for a while, and if I did not do a good job of charging, before I went out. So, but there'll be outlets and other things too there for you to use. And portable charger is a great idea. And then also wanted to remind folks that if you're still at the end of the Zoom a little nervous or wondering like, I can't even get the app on my phone, that's totally fine. We will have time at the beginning of the workshop to help you troubleshoot, make sure the app's on your phone and working properly. And we'll also have iPads too for people to use. So if you also know people who are like, I don't think I'm ready for a workshop yet, just tell them like, we have all the things they need. It is definitely geared towards beginners. Yeah. And then with that, I think I'm going to pass it off. I'm going to close my slides, pass it off to Hannah. Hannah's going to share her slides and we'll get started.
All right. There we go. Okay. Did everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, so without further ado, Avenza Maps. So Avenza Maps, it's a mapping program. It's a navigation tool all in one app. It can be used on a smart device without cell phone service or Wi-Fi when you're out in the field. You do need some sort of cell phone service or Wi-Fi to get it set up, but I'll go over that. It's used by landowners, outdoor enthusiasts and adventurers, and professionals and citizen scientists. It's really a pretty accessible app for all sorts of users and can be customized by the user group to make it work for you. And there's a free version of the app. That's what most people will be using. I have a paid professional version, but there's really it's not a whole lot of additional features. It's just you have more storage space within the app for the different maps that you might put in there. The map options, the way you get maps into Avenza Maps, all maps need to be geo-referenced, and geo-reference means that the map file contains information about the location like tied to the geographic coordinate system. So there are points on the map that are connected to points on the ground. That's basically what geo-reference means. And you can get just lots of geo-referenced maps mostly as PDFs. And they can come from your consulting forester. If you are in current use, you can download them from offline. You can buy them within or download them within the Avenza Map platform. And you can also create them on your own if you're a professional, which really allows you to customize the layers that are on your map and that you're able to see. And that's one of the big bonuses for professionals is they can make a map at the computer and then make sure it has all of the different features and layers that they need, and also not other things that they don't need. So that's that can be a little bit challenging for landowners, but also allows the app to be really used by so many different groups. And there's also a base map that's included in you do have to download it while you're online so that you can take a section of it offline. And then there's another option for getting maps, which is to download them from the Natural Resource Atlas. And this, I think Kelly mentioned, this slideshow will be sent out, and the recording of the slideshow will be sent out. So we won't go through it step by step now, but if you're interested in getting a map from the Natural Resource Atlas, you can follow the QR code there for the Natural Resource Atlas. And then you can follow these steps 1 through 5 to get those downloaded and into Avenza Maps. So some of the pros and cons. Pros, like I said, you can really customize these maps to include specific areas of interest or points of interest. You can include contours if you want that information. You can include layers that contain wetlands, or really so many different things. And there's a lot of YouTube videos out there to help you learn Avenza maps. So it's sometimes the YouTube videos are fast paced and they're a little bit more in depth. So this is sort of geared towards like hands-on, getting people comfortable with it. But then once you want to learn more and you want to sort of expand your knowledge about the app, you can go to YouTube. It doesn't require cell phone service or Wi-Fi while you're using the map that you have downloaded in the app, which can be wonderful when you're out in the wilderness of Vermont with very little cell phone service and certainly no Wi-Fi. You can save points and tracks and really customize your maps and collect data, all sorts of great data. And then that data can also be exported to use in other applications and create maybe a more polished map. You can collect information about the location of, and again, we'll get into this in a couple slides, but for instance, a location of invasive plants on the property, you can really locate those, and then you can send that information maybe to your forester or to a licensed pesticide applicator that might be treating those invasives or anything like that. So it really allows you to use that data in a very useful way, not just collect it and hold on to it in a single app. The cons, you do need to plan ahead and download these maps or make the maps before you go out in the field and have no cell phone service or Wi-Fi. You need to know or need access to create maps or download maps. So there's just a little bit of a barrier there. And then the free version also, it only supports 3 maps at a time. So you do have to be conscious of storing those somewhere else if you want to access them, or deleting them once you're done using them. So for anybody that hasn't downloaded the app yet, you can follow these QR codes and just scan them with your phone's camera. If anybody hasn't used those, you just open up the camera on your phone and you scan it, and it will bring you to the app where you can download those. So you're going to download the app onto your device. And yeah, sorry, I said most of this, but it's a free app. You might need your Apple ID or password or thumbprint to download those, but it's fairly simple. I'll just pause here. Are there any questions?
I don't see any popping in the chat or any hands raised. I think we're good.
Great, I'll just keep rolling then. So you're going to open the app once you have it downloaded, and it's going to come up with, first you want to allow your location. So I know sometimes people are hesitant about that, but that is the point of using this app, is you are interested in your location and your phone needs to know your location, and so does the app. So you're going to choose allow while using the app, and then you're going to click the X off of this first screen. Then you're going to your Avenza map comes preloaded with a getting started map. It gives you a quick start guide, and it has some of the common features and tools. And I like to keep this inside as one of your 3 maps, just to get started, just until you're comfortable with the tools and you recognize what those icons mean. Eventually, though, you can delete it out of your Avenza map so it doesn't take up one of those 3 maps. So you're going to click on your map in so to get a map into Avenza, you're going to have some sort of map somewhere, whether it's from your consulting forester, whether it's from an organization, maybe from the natural resource atlas that you've downloaded, maybe it's provided to you some way, maybe you've created it. You're going to use the this little arrow, this box with an arrow going out of it to import it into Avenza. That's the easiest way, is to have the file open and then send it to Avenza. So you're going to open in another app and then find the Avenza, the icon. And again, when we're in person, we can really walk through this. It'll be a lot easier. And we will have maps for you to, we'll have like a QR code, I think, and we'll have maps for you to access so that we have a map of the property that we're on and you can see how that works. Get it into Avenza. So you're going to click, you're going to pull your map into Avenza. And sometimes you pull a map into Avenza and you get a thing at the bottom, a gray bar at the bottom that says not on the map. So if you are not on the map, then it will tell you you're not on the map. But if you happen to be on the map, you will see that there is a little blue dot, and that is your location within that map. So this is actually a map around my house. And you can see that, you know, there I am. And it's a blue dot. Sometimes if you aren't moving very fast or it's having a hard time when you first open it up, it might sort of show up like a really large blue dot, and then it narrows in as you sort of maybe walk a few steps and it sort of locates you on that map. And then, you know, just some quick orienteering again on this to the app, sorry. You have an arrow down in the bottom left-hand corner, and the arrow allows you to switch between the compass mode and the map oriented north. So if you click on that, you will, it will turn solid green, and then you can click again on it and it will point solid green north. That's all in that little arrow there, and it will move the map around. And you can sort of play around that with that and notice the differences. You can zoom in or out on the map by pinching and dragging, just like you would with a picture. You have a pin tool that allows you to plot a point on the map. You can do that with photos. Just a second. And then you have this ruler tool and the pencil, and it allows you to access a whole array of tools. And we'll go through some of those now, and then lots of them in person later. And I encourage you all, like, just play around with it, see what some of these do. It's not really a thing that you can break. You're not gonna like delete all the data. You're not, you know, it's very user friendly. So just like open these up, check them out, and then you can, you know, close them, or, you know, really don't worry that you're gonna like break anything in the app. So you can also pull up on this white bar on the bottom of the page to access additional tabs. So you want to just hold on to that white and gray bar and slowly drag it up. Sometimes if your phone is sensitive, it will pull up other tools on your phone, but just give it a try. And that will open up we'll have location tab, which allows you to find your current coordinates and use a compass to orient yourself on the map. We'll have tracking. The map, I use this one a lot when I'm out on a property for current use, so I just track where I'm going. It will tell you how fast you're going and how far you're traveling, and you can label this and change the weight and the color or delete it. You can't delete a section of it, which I've noticed, which can be, if you forget to turn it off, it can be a little bit crazy because it, you know, just tracks your car ride home from wherever you are. But if you remember, it's super helpful. And I, you know, like I said, I use it a lot. And then we have this navigation tab. So this tab has 4 tools on it. Project your destination, so you can enter distance to travel in the direction you're facing, and it'll plot a point and a line. So this can be really helpful if you want to do like a inventory plot or something like that, if you're a professional, or just if you're sort of curious as a landowner, you're trying to get more familiar, you're working with your kids to get more familiar about like estimating distances in the woods. If you're a hunter and you want to know like how far something is, it can be really helpful because you can plot, you can, you know, project something and then walk that line and actually see how far it is. You can navigate to a feature, so you can select something that you've already pinned or located on the map, and you can get yourself back there, which can be really helpful. You can enter coordinates. So maybe a friend has given you coordinates to a really cool location and you want to try to get back there. And then you can also create a route. So you can plot a route by adding points on the map. And this one's new to me, but I'm really curious to try it out sometime. Maybe when we're all together.
Hannah?
Yeah.
I think there's a question that Janet has. Go ahead, Janet.
Oh, you're on mute, Janet.
Unmute. Okay, there I am.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to follow along with you, but I'm way behind you because I haven't been able to figure out how to get it. Maybe I need to download a map first before when I had gotten Avenza on this phone. But all I get to is the library is empty. Although actually now I'm finally getting to allow Avenza Maps to access this device location. But did you have to download your Reading map first?
Yeah, so that's a map I created. Let's see. So if you are in the app, you can go to, do you see My Maps?
Yes.
Okay. So
And I
there's
have
lots.
OSM base map beta try now. And that's all I have.
Yep. So that might be all you start with. If you go to the store, so I will, let's see if I can get my, I don't know if it's gonna work or if it's gonna blur it out. But we can certainly work on this. There you go. There's a store.
Yep.
And that will have lots of maps that you can check out. You can buy, some of them are free by putting in your location. And then if
Okay.
you want a very specific map, like of your property, I would suggest going to the ANR Atlas after we're done, or you know, sometime, and following those steps that we'll send out the PowerPoint and the recording, and it has steps so that you can download a map of your, you know, of your specific property. Or if you're, you know, have a consulting forester, they usually can get you a PDF map of your property.
Is there, yeah, I guess I'm seeing like Long Trail costs money. Do you is there a free one for the Farm and Wilderness area or the Plymouth area that?
Yeah,
Yes.
so we'll have some maps of our property for the workshop for sure. I will probably email them out and we will have them available by QR code at the workshop, and we will work with you to get those in the app. That's part of the workshop. So you do not have to worry about those ahead of time, because part of the workshop is learning how to get a map on your
Okay.
phone into the app. So we'll work with you on that. But for those folks who want to try it before the workshop and play around with it, that way they'll have it. So we'll email maps out as a PDF. If we get, depending on when we end here tonight, and if folks have time, I'm happy to walk through the steps of downloading the TIFF off the ANR Atlas, so you can do too. So but I wouldn't worry so much about making sure you could do it tonight, because it's a lot of info, and sometimes it is, as Hannah said, just easier to do it in person so that somebody can show you all the different settings. So we'll show you how to get access those free maps, and we will give you maps to use for the workshop for sure.
Okay, great, thanks. Yeah, I just couldn't figure out how I could practice what you're teaching us now. But I'll do it at the workshop.
Sure. The base map that's provided, that is a pretty decent map. It's basically like like a map view in Google Maps. sort of
Mhm.
similar, with some topo lines. So if you can get that, it takes some time if you don't have great Wi-Fi on your phone. It takes a little bit of time to load that map, but then you can create sort of an offline area from that. And I'm not remembering exactly how to do that because mine isn't loading right now. But oh yeah, so if you open that OSM base map and
Mhm.
you find your location, so you can click the green arrow or that arrow that's down in the bottom left corner.
Yep.
It will find you, and then once that loads up, you can click the pencil and ruler, and then
Mhm.
there's a download an offline region. So that will also allow you to have a map to sort of play around with, to have all the tools that
Okay.
I'm talking about now.
Yep, I was able to follow all that. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, happy to slow down and answer those questions. So,
Thanks.
yeah. All right, so here we are again. We're trying to figure out how to get a pin on the map. So that arrow down in the bottom left, you can tap on it. If you tap on it or if it's just like a hollow with a green outline, then this yellow bullseye, that is sort of wherever you navigate on your map. It's not locked to where your location is. So if you want to put a point somewhere that you know there's something out there, but you're not actually physically there, excuse me, you can use it this way. But usually when you want to plot a point, you're standing at the thing that you're trying to create a point for. So you're standing and the pink lady slipper is at your feet and you want to go back there someday to show your friend. What you want to do is you want to click on that arrow until it's a solid green, and the bullseye is going to lock on over your blue dot. So you can see that there's a little picture here where you can see the blue dot and the bullseye locked on that. Then once you have it like that, you're going to click on this little pin and you will plot a point. So you will click on the pin, it will open up, I guess it's actually called a place mark. I always just call them pins, but you can name this place mark. So you can say it's pink lady slipper or something like that. You can change the icon for that pin. You can take a photo of the thing. You can see the location with your coordinates, and then you will submit that. And when you go back to your map, it will show up as this, pin, and you can put a whole bunch of them in. You can see another little picture there of the map I have with all these pins located all around the county. And so this is really helpful if you're a landowner and you have like invasives or a really cool plant, or just like, something, you take a picture and you want to remember where that picture is. You have a bridge that you need to replace on your property. You have, a tree that is over the trail and you need to cut it out of the way, but you don't have your chainsaw with you at the time. So many reasons. It's really helpful to be able to return back and know where you are or where you want to go. And so again, back to the main page and the ruler and pencil, and then drawing and measuring. This is another really useful tool. And so that's the first one on the list. And this allows you to, the measure tool, it allows you to sort of measure. Maybe you have a patch cut or something prescribed and you want to know how large that actually is going to feel on the landscape, or you want to measure an area of invasive plants, or you want to measure how large your field is because you're just not sure, or you want to measure a distance also. It doesn't have to be just an area, it can be a straight line distance. So you can create that. This is a little bit complicated, the way you have to sort of click on it. You can certainly practice on your own, but this is something I think in person we will go over a little bit more, because it can be a little bit clunky to learn, and then once you've learned it, you sort of get the hang of it. Okay. Oh, and then that's it. So I'm happy to answer more questions, happy to go over other tools. Yeah.
Hannah, this is Jack. I have a question about the photos.
Yeah.
Suppose I have a map of my property and I'm walking my property and I come to a vernal pool and I want to take a picture of it. And I want it to be associated with that spot on the map.
Yep.
So when I take the photo with my phone, how does that work? Is that photo now associated in the app with that point on the map?
So there's a few different ways you can do it. So you can either take the photo first, and then you can create a pin, and then you would pull that photo when you're in that pin. Here, I'll go back. So there's a place mark that we were talking about, that pin. You would click on this photo plus, and
Yep.
it will give you the option to either open your camera or open your photo library. And so you
Okay.
can either pull the picture in that way, or just open up your camera and take a brand new picture. And
Okay.
you can add, I don't know if there's any limit to it, I've never hit the limit, but you can add a number of photos for a single point.
Oh, okay.
And I think you can also, let me, I've got my phone right here, so let me just check and see. I think you can also, if you're doing a draw and measure, you can also, I think, add photos to that. Might be, maybe this is not helpful, but I'm curious now. But I think you can add photos to any feature. And yeah, so you can add photos to a line, you can add photos to a polygon. So
when we get out in the field in a few weeks, will we be able to experiment with this photo thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, it's something I use all the time to help me like remember something that I need. If I'm walking on a property and there's like a big washout or a culvert is missing, or something like that, it's really helpful to take a photo of it. So it, not only do you have the point on the map, but then when you're back in the office trying to like write a report or think about like how bad something was, you can pull up that photo and really jog your memory.
Thank you.
Yeah. Other questions from anybody? Other things, other tools we want to go over?
And if you do, I'll suggest if you do think of questions or you're playing around in the app leading up to the workshop, just write them down, make a list of them. So that way you can remember them and you can ask them at the workshop, or when we're going to do different things, it can help you keep track of your wonderings about it. Because sometimes like I'm in Avenza and I'm out in the field, I'm trying to do something and I'm like, oh, I wonder if I could do this. I feel like I can, but I don't have the time right now to figure that out. So sometimes I just kind of make a note for myself to like, when I have the time later to sit down with the app and play around with it. So I found that to be pretty helpful when using it, because there's a lot you can really do. You can do as little or as much as you like in the app, which is also makes it very handy because it can customize to whatever your ability and interest is. So that would be my recommendation, is if you're playing around with it, or even if you don't have it yet, write down your questions, bring them to the workshop, and we can kind of troubleshoot them together.
Yeah, and I'm always learning new things also. So if there's something that you want to do, like you have a project in mind, please bring it to us, or even email me before, and I can try to figure out if there's a way to do what you're hoping to do, and we can all learn from each other. Because I get in my sort of, in my world of using it, and I use it in a certain way, and it works great. But like Kelly said, there's just so much it can do, that it's really customizable to the project that you have in mind.
One other question, if you don't mind, Hannah.
Sure.
Earlier, you mentioned the Natural Resource Atlas.
Yep.
As a place you could go to download a map of your own property.
Yep.
Does the atlas show the property boundaries?
Yes. So the Atlas has it's really an amazing resource if you aren't aware of it or haven't been aware of it. It has I want to say like 100+ layers that you can really turn on and off. And it has your property boundaries, it has like wildlife corridors, it has steep slopes, it has contours, it has known vernal pools, and special natural communities, and rare, threatened, and endangered plants and animals. And it's just like such a wealth of information. So you can go and I'd suggest, if you're not familiar with it, go and check that out too, and play with it, and just sort of like turn things on and off, and see what the options are. And then once you sort of play around with it and see what your options are, then maybe download a map that you might be interested in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just put the link for the ANR Atlas in the chat if people want to grab it that way. And if folks don't have any other questions, I have it pulled up, so I'm happy to share my screen and kind of just show you a couple of the things that Hannah was talking about, so you just have a little bit of idea and can play around with it. But I'll wait to see if other folks have questions.
Okay. And another thing that we'll go over when we are in person, and once people sort of like collect a little bit of information, even just like at the Farm and Wilderness building, and when we get started, we'll go over like how to use that data if you want to move it out of the app, and what your options are there. I think it's a little bit of like putting the cart before the horse if we do it now, if you don't really have any data. And so we'll go over that in person later on. Yeah, I can stop sharing my screen, and Kelly, if you want to take over that.
Sure. Yeah. Laura, do you have a question?
I do. In Gaia, there's some things that you need a computer to do, like upload maps and stuff. Is there any reason you would need a computer with Avenza?
No, if you have a way, I guess that's a great point. So the easiest way to get a map into Avenza is to have your email also on your phone. And if you are able to receive a PDF map in your email, then you can just go into your email on your phone and pull it directly into Avenza also on your phone, or iPad or whatever. But the app isn't on the computer at all. Like it lives on your phone.
Okay.
Yeah, so you could also, if you don't have your email on your phone, you could have some sort of like file sharing on your phone, and then from your email share it to a file on your phone, and then from the file, share it to Avenza. But really the easiest way is to either just get maps directly from the Avenza Maps app platform and that store or the base map, or from your email.
Thanks.
Yeah. Right.
Cool. Any other questions? Okay, I'll just share my screen real quick, 5 minutes, kind of do what A&R Atlas looks like. You do not have to internalize any of this. Again, we'll show you again. But this way, sometimes when I'm learning something that's brand new and I've never done it before, I like to just see it and like see somebody do it and then go to like the steps again, and then I'm like, oh right, I remember seeing that, and it helps me do the step. So for the sake of that, if that's helpful for other people, I'll just share my screen and show you the steps. And Hannah, if I'm missing something, because while I'm showing this, just let me know, because I also don't want to confuse people. All right, so y'all can see that, right? So and sometimes, and you can do this on your phone from the browser too. Sometimes what I find helpful is if I do have a laptop or a bigger screen, I go in here, download the map or the georeference TIFF, and I email it to myself or put it somewhere where I can then go to my device and find it. So there's a lot of different ways, like Hannah was saying, that you can share the maps and move them around and get them into the app. And because you have a bigger screen, you can kind of see this. So you can kind of zoom in. I'm gonna try to zoom in on the farm and wilderness area, which will be, and if you zoom in far enough, you'll see the parcel line show up like that. And we'll probably going to be somewhere around here. So so what I can do is just make a TIFF of that, and I can also, if I want to highlight a parcel, I can do that and zoom out, and I have the boundaries of that parcel even when the red goes away. So you can do that if that's helpful, especially if you're working with a big parcel. But I'm just going to zoom in here, and it's not going to be, you get rid of that. And then if you're like, well, where do I go? So you open up your tools here, and this toolbar pops up, and this is the export that you're looking for.
Kelly, would you just, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go
Just,
ahead.
if you went back and just opened up the layers, just so people
Oh,
know
yes.
where the layers are to, play around with.
Yeah, that's right. So you want to, so if once you open up this toolbar, you can go, so we have the map tools here, but this other tabs you can play around with, but you want to open up map data, show layers, and there's all these embedded folders that you can open and close and play around with. And you can turn things on and off. So let's see, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so that we can kind of see. So wetland, so you can see I've just clicked this, turned them on, turned them off, that type of thing. And you can just explore what layers you can turn on and off. There's all kinds of menus here. You can turn dams on. There's the dams in that area. So it is really cool what you can kind of capture in that map. So I'm going to turn the dams back on. We'll zoom in because we do have a dam on site there. And as you zoom in, you notice the features they'll adjust in size. So just be aware of that too. So once you feel like you have the image in the box that you want it to be, then you want to go ahead. So it's going to create an image that's zoomed in, like I'm zoomed in here. If you want to zoom out and have all of this area, you'll want to do that, but you can play around and download as many as you like. So once you have everything, you want to go back to your map tools, export, and then here's a drop down menu here. And you want to go to GeoTIFF and create image. And it's thinking, it's doing, and then you can view the image. It's going to go in your downloads. And this is what it looks like. So you can, it's basically a picture, it's geo-referenced as the points on the ground, and you can pop that into your Avenza apps. And so right now, if I was like, I want to, I'm going to just email it to myself so I have it, you would just it, open in Photos, or choose a program. You would save it, or you can go to your, it's in a folder here, and you can open the folder, your downloads folder, and then drop it into an email. But just wanted to show that. Anything else while I have it open, Hannah, do you think it would be useful for people to see?
I think just play around with it and, you know, see what's useful to you and what you're interested in.
Yeah. And we'll go through, we'll practice those steps that I just did when we're at Farm and Wilderness. So you can all get practice with it.
Yeah, Laura mentioned also in the chat that the Fish and Wildlife has some tutorials on it also.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Okay. All right. It is 7:58. So I want to make sure we end on time. And of course, we'll be seeing each other in a little bit anyway. You know how to send your questions. I'm going to put the email in the chat again. It's conservation@farmandwilderness.org. So you can just, about the workshop or anything, you can just send your questions there. And we're happy to answer those or put you in contact with Hannah or whoever to get you the information you need. But we'll be sending emails too, so you can reply to those. Great. Well, thank you all for coming. We're gonna take the recording of tonight and we're gonna try to pop it on YouTube, and we'll be sending the link out to you all and anybody who wasn't able to come tonight. And yeah, if you could just spread the word, make sure folks can register before the 21st. I think we'll leave the registration open all the way up till the day before. So oh, and Janet is asking where at Farm and Wilderness. This is a very good question because it is a big place. So we will have directions, and we'll email those out, and we'll tell you where the parking will be and which building we'll be meeting. And I'm still kind of figuring out which building we are going to be using, but we'll know well ahead of time, and you'll get that email a few days before the workshop. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thanks, everybody, for coming. And we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you, Kelly and Hannah.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.